We demand a place for ourselves in the sun, the rise of Germany. On January 18, 1871, in the Palace of Versailles outside Paris, the Prussian King William I was proclaimed Kaiser, or Emperor, of a unified Germany. Before the coronation, the nation had been divided into 39 separate states, each with its own ruler, internal economic working, custom barriers, and armed forces. The driving force behind unification was Prussia's chief minister Otto von Bismarck, soon to assume the position of German Chancellor. Bismarck achieved his objectives by the shrewd application of military force, beginning with a war against Denmark for the province of Schleswig and Holstein in 1864, and followed by war against Austria in 1866. Prussia's great victory at Königgrätz or Sadowa forced Austria to acknowledge Prussian hegemony over Germany. As a result, Austria gave up its traditional role in German affairs and in 1867 reinvented itself as the dual monarchy of Austria-Hungary. Bismarck's wars culminated in a carefully orchestrated conflict against France in 1870. Prussian success was absolute, culminating in the destruction of the French army at the Battle of Sedan in northeastern France. Germany was now Europe's leading military power. Vanquished and humiliated, France was made to pay large financial reparation and cede the territories of Alsace and Lorraine. Prussia is victorious over Austria and France. The German General Staff, which planned and coordinated the armed force, is a powerful institution. There is emphasis on meticulous planning and attention to detail. The German army dominates the political sphere, and conditions are right for empire building. Otto von Bismarck dictated peace terms to French Minister Jules Favre and adopters at Versailles in February 1871, following the Prussian defeat of France. Disputed borderland. Helmut von Moltke, the head of the Prussian army, had demanded the annexation of Alsace-Lorraine to provide a buffer zone in any subsequent conflict with France. The incorporation of the region with its valuable iron ore deposit and thriving iron and steel industry was also welcomed by German industrialists. Although most inhabitants of the two provinces spoke a Germanic dialect, especially in Alsace, many resented what was effectively a German military occupation. Events came to a head in the Zabern affair in 1930. Provocative comments made by a German officer against the population in the Alsatian town of Zabern prompted demonstration and rioting. This led to heavy-handed repression by the Prussian army garrison. Liberal and left-wing parties in the Reichstag or parliament condemned the garrison, subsequently drawing the Kaiser and Chancellor into a constitutional debate over the role of the army. The affair was widely reported abroad as a reflection of the undue influence of the military in German public life. After the defeat of the Habsburg Empire in 1866, other states were pressured into joining a German federal unit. War against France in 1870 and 1871 persuaded Bavaria and Baden to join. The seizure from France of most of Alsace and some of Lorraine, creating the territory Alsace-Lorraine, completed the development of the new Germany. Industry and politics. One of the key drivers of Germany's growth in the second half of the 19th century was its rapid industrialization, benefiting from abundant natural resources and skilled workforce. It became a major producer of coal, steel, and other goods. This growth provided economic support for Germany's territorial ambition, but also caused social and economic disruption. Politically, Germany was dominated by conservative elites who were wary of democratic reform. The government was led by the Chancellor, who was not elected but appointed by the Kaiser. Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor, implemented policies that aimed to strengthen the new empire and consolidate power. Crucially, he created a formidable army, helping to ensure Germany's dominance in Europe. The Reichstag represented a wide range of class interests but had limited powers and was often bullied by the autocratic government. Dissatisfaction with the status quo, focusing on working class unrest and middle class aspiration for a meaningful say in the running of the country, was never properly addressed. In fact, it encouraged the German government to divert attention away from troubles in the domestic sphere toward an expansionist foreign policy, something supported by both the middle and working classes. In 1888, Wilhelm II became Kaiser after the death of his father, Frederick III. The new emperor soon clashed with Bismarck, who was forced to resign as Chancellor in 1890. Wilhelm and his government pursued an ever more belligerent foreign policy, but unlike Bismarck, the new Kaiser had little ability in handling diplomatic complexities. The Kaiser reign was marked by a series of aggressive statements and policy decisions that upset the diplomatic balance in Europe. This was evidenced in the militarization of the idea of Mitteleurope Europe, Central Europe, a concept of shared cultural values that had existed for centuries and covered the region ruled over by Germany and Austria-Hungary. However, by the late 19th century, German thinkers and politicians were broadening the term to include economic and political union under German control. It would later be used to justify German military action in Central and Eastern Europe after the outbreak of war in 1914. An overseas empire. The new Mitteleurope idea was mirrored by another expansionist policy, the seizure of overseas territory. Although Bismarck had initially opposed the idea, he had a change of heart in the late 1870s and initiated a formal policy of territorial acquisition. Having arrived late to the European colonization of Africa, Germany had to make do with limited possession. Togoland, present-day Togo, Cameroon, German Southwest Africa or Namibia, and German East Africa or Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. Even by the brutal standards of European colonization, German policy in Africa was inhuman. Its administration relied heavily on forced labor, viciously suppressed any resistance, and it instigated military campaigns to expand territory and control its subjects. In the Pacific, Germany acquired a scattering of islands, mainly in the Mariana, Caroline, Marshall, and Solomon Group. Much of northern New Guinea came under its control, as did territory around the port of Tsingtao in mainland China. Wilhelm was aggravated, however, by the failure to secure vast overseas empires like those of Britain and France. His ire became apparent in antagonistic pronouncements that alarmed the other great power. Alienation and isolation. Britain became the target of Wilhelm's anger. In January 1896, he sent a congratulatory telegram to President Kruger of the Transvaal, then in conflict with Britain, and in a 1908 newspaper interview, he repeatedly criticized British foreign policy. He also intervened in the French extension of control over Morocco, resulting in the Moroccan crisis of 1905, 1906, and 1911, which ended in a French diplomatic victory. While Franco-British relations grew closer, Germany's isolation increased. In hindsight, Germany's overseas empire was a resounding failure. Its colonies were drained on economic resources and had no strategic advantage. After war was declared, they became a military liability and, aside from German East Africa, were captured by the Allies. Kaiser Wilhelm's dream of a place in the sun proved a costly mirage. Kaiser Wilhelm II, born in 1859 in Berlin, Wilhelm was the eldest child of Crown Prince Frederick and Princess Victoria, daughter of the British monarch Queen Victoria. He was born with a withered left arm, a fact that he tried to hide throughout his life. He grew up in a strict militaristic household with his father, who subsequently became Frederick III, preparing him for his future role as Kaiser. In 1888, Wilhelm ascended to the throne after the death of his father, who had only reigned for 99 days. Wilhelm was known for his erratic and tactless behavior, the appetite for interfering in the affairs of foreign states. This did much to distance him from his fellow world rulers. After dismissing Otto von Bismarck as Chancellor, he set Germany on a more forcefully imperialistic path. Wilhelm personally backed Austria-Hungary in its conflict with Serbia in 1914, a factor that helped lead to the outbreak of war in Europe. With Germany's defeat in 1918, he was forced to abdicate and fled to the Netherlands, where he lived in exile until his death in 1941.